Our path to the draft continues with Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. I hope you're doing good as well. I know yesterday was the start of voluntary workouts, and fans were excited. And a lot of people focused in on Micah Parsons being there. I know you have a lot of other players on the team as well. But how much, if at all, do you factor in leadership when you're like negotiating a player's contract or something along those lines?
Well, anytime you're going to commit resources like we're talking about with Micah or a Dak or a CD, everything factors in. It's football character, it's personal character, it's obviously skills and what they bring to the table. They're, what position do they play on the field? Obviously, the three guys I just talked about are all really important positions in the NFL in terms of edge rusher, number one receiver, and quarterback. But the full body of work goes in there, the health picture, everything. So, the leadership is certainly a big part of it.
One of the things that Dak Prescott said was in contract negotiations, you just got to stay positive, make sure that the team knows what you want and what you believe. Do you feel at this point you understand what Micah Parsons wants and what he believes for this team going forward?
Yeah, I think we, you always have a feel for it. And certainly, whether it's a Dak, a CD, or a Micah, I mean, there's no question he wants, paid in a way that's, commensurate with what he feels like he brings. And certainly, we're trying to, a little bit works, where the rub comes is we're trying to not only keep guys like Dak and CD and Micah, but we're also trying to put, a team around them that can be and can compete and, win championships. And so obviously we're trying to get them to, come a little our way and take into an account some of the things that are positive about playing for the Cowboys, playing, in Texas and those type of things. And obviously they're trying to maximize, their value on their contract. So it's, it's all well-meaning. It's just, a lot of times a journey to get there.
When you say one of the benefits of playing in Texas, would that include the lack of a state income tax?
Sure. I mean, everybody knows that's the case here. The cost of living compared to, some of these bigger cities in the NFL certainly comes into an account. And, at the end of the day, we're looking for some credit for that. And the main reason for it is we're going to spend to the cap year in and year out. And, over the course of time, we're going to spend our money to try to get as many good players as we can. So, that's the art of the deal.
Hey, Stephen, I know a lot of the conversation this offseason, and one of the pitches from your head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, was culture. And I've always been curious, who in his mind and who in your mind has the biggest impact on a culture in this locker room? Is it just the guys that are paid the most? Who has the big impact on the culture?
Well, obviously, it's always going to, probably people are going to point to the quarterback position, the leader of the team. And, I think we got one of the best in the business, especially, when it comes to culture. I think Dak, certainly epitomizes, what it's like to be a leader and set great examples, set the, try to do everything he can to set the culture, but certainly it can't be done alone. You got to have leaders on both sides of the ball and on your special teams phase. And, ultimately you build it, through the type of players you bring into your organization. And so I think those, obviously that's important, certainly. And then the leadership within the organization, whether that's your head coach and your coaching staff, whether that's your ownership, all that goes into creating a culture.
Now, the other part, too, though, is next week, big draft. I know there's a lot. We're getting really amped up about that right now. Have you ever in your history seen a rookie come in and completely change a locker room and completely change a culture?
Yeah, I mean, it is done. I mean, usually it takes time. But, just, as of late, I thought, Zeke was one of those guys who stepped right in and, created in the running game of physicality, which, those teams that, win a lot of football games can run the football. And, he stepped right in from day one and, really brought a physical toughness to our team. But it certainly can be done. It can be done through the offensive line. It can be done, obviously, we haven't done it in a while because we've had Dak here for so long. But Dak was one of those guys that stepped right in and I think really set a tone when Tony got hurt and really filled in. And now, to do that, you've got to be a great football player and play right away. If you're going to be able to step up, it's always been said, really be a leader and, be somebody who people follow and you set a culture. You've got to be not only great off the field, but you got to be a great player on the field too.
One of the things I really enjoy talking with you about is the mechanisms of the salary cap. I feel like you usually give us really great insight. Can you walk our fans through maybe the idea of flipping some of the switches on contracts like Dak and other players if the money is maybe not going to be immediately used in terms of free agency?
Yeah, I mean, all of our big contracts, we have mechanisms within the contract, that it's not even negotiated. We just have the right to convert, salary to signing bonus, which in turn spreads out, that salary over the life of the contract. And certainly that creates room. To give you an example, if you've got a $10 million salary and the player's under contract for 5 years and you give him you give him that in a bonus, 10 of the 12, let's say, then, that 10 goes to counting 2. And the rest of the 8 is spread over the remaining 4 years. So all those mechanisms are especially in the big contracts. If you were to look at our salary cap today, there's, about 7 or 8 guys who have, salaries that, are big enough that you can do something with. Not to that degree necessarily. Those are usually the bigger ones like Dak and, CD and a player like Diggs and guys like that. But, there's really only about normally, 7 or 8 of those guys that you can do that with. The rookies are usually, playing under their rookie deal and they have much smaller deals. And then you have a lot of players like we did this year in free agency where we signed 1-year deals with them that are, they're set. And, but, in general, those mechanisms are in place, so we can do those type of things. Obviously, we've done it with Dak on a regular basis, and, that's one of the things that, does create an unusual cap situation because we're still paying for part of his old contract because we spread it out over time, and we still have some of the remaining amortization left from his old contract in addition to what we're paying him currently.
And I hope you think this is a fair question. I guess one of my questions specifically for Dak is, why would you continue to do that when you said the money was still kind of left over from the last deal and the quarterback is getting older and coming off of another injury? Like, is there any concern that that's a pretty delicate balancing act there?
It's a fair question, but obviously we have a lot of confidence that, Dak's injury was, one of those that was just unfortunate. We feel like Dak's healthy. I think it's well documented. He's talked about it and what he's done with his body and, how he's getting his body ready to play for this year. But, we feel like Dak's going to be a healthy player for us for the life of his contract, which actually the actual contract, is starting this year. And we feel like it's he's going to be a healthy, productive quarterback in this league for us that will play, at the very top of his game and give us a chance to win championships.
Stephen, when you have a receiver like CeeDee Lamb who's so capable of lining up inside, outside, and so versatile as a receiver, when you want somebody opposite him, how much does size matter in that conversation where you have a guy like Tet who's a very tall receiver, and then you got a guy like Matthew Golden who's shorter but runs fantastic routes and all of that?
Yeah, I think they come in all, pardon the phrase here, but all shapes and sizes. I mean, some of them are smaller and really fast and can be very productive. And then you got some that their productivity comes from their length and contested catches and great hands and, great ways to use their body. I mean, they do come in all forms in terms of, how they can be productive. And certainly there's guys in the draft that, fit both molds. And but if they do one of them, at an elite level, then certainly they have a chance to make a huge difference.
Is this specific NFL draft looking different at all in terms of value? There seems to be some thought out there that like players 10 through 40 are kind of interchangeable, or players 40 through 80 might be kind of interchangeable. Have you found that to be the?
I mean, I think there is some depth in this draft, and I think if you were going to say maybe it's not real top heavy in terms of the top of the draft being inordinately strong. I think there's some really good football players, don't get me wrong, but I do think this draft, you can get really good football players, through the first half or, even into the second half of the draft. So, we feel real good about where we're sitting and think we can get a really good football player or given the opportunity to, I don't see us moving up, but
All right. Well, I think.
You still got you, Stephen?
Hello?
Oh,
Yes, we
is.
got you. Yeah. You said you don't necessarily see yourselves moving up, and then we lost you there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see us moving up based on the way the board's coming together, but, could see a situation where we'd move down, but we're also, you always look at that pick. We've had some, good things happen to us, just outside of the top 10 with guys like Andre Ware and Micah Parsons and Zach Martin, Hall of Fame type players that are, that fall to you and you just pick them. And that very well could be the case in this draft.
I've always been kind of curious. We get to watch the War Room, Stephen, and we get to see you on the phones going back and forth and all those things. In the conversations of trading draft picks, is the value, especially right now, outlandish when it comes to these things? These draft picks are more valuable now than ever before.
Yeah, I think it's consistently. I don't think it's necessarily, going through the roof in terms of the value of picks. I think, picks are valuable. I do think, if anything, I would say, you can get some value in veteran-type players if teams have decided they need to move on for cap reasons. There's some value out there. Of course, we've made, some trades here in the off season that we felt really brought, some players to us that can really be of value to us next year. Feel like we've, done a really good job of really solidifying our team in terms of depth, in terms of being able to draft pure in the draft. I think we got a lot done this off season, and like I said, it's not over yet. We'll continue to look at opportunities to help this football team.
I saw Ashton Genty was on with my friend Kay Adams, and he said Jerry was holding up a championship belt and admiring it when he walked in. Is that an inspirational move on Jerry's part, like larger than life at all times? Is that on him?
Oh, he likes to have fun with these young men, and I know he does that. He's got that trophy that's in there that was a gift to him from one of the events we had out at the stadium. Another one I really like that he does is lately he's gotten to where they get their mother on the phone. And, as we all love, and, one of the most important things in most men's life is their mother. And certainly these guys are no different. And, they really enjoy, they smile ear to ear when they get their mother on the phone with Jerry. And a lot of times I'm sitting in there, a lot of times Jerry and I will interview a player together. And it's been real fun watching these guys react to their mother and how they interact with Jerry and myself. And that's been entertaining, and you can see a lot about a young man in terms of, what they think of their mother. And you can tell these guys are certainly defer to their mother.
Do you think maybe there should be consideration, not for Hard Knocks, but for Jerry interviews players' moms as the next NFL show? Because I would watch that.
It's actually, I know one thing, it's been very entertaining for me. So it might just be something that would be fun for these guys to catch on camera. And, I think it's very, it's very genuine. It's very organic, and you can tell the players really like it and enjoy it. I mean, they're smiling ear to ear, and certainly, usually the mother's just having a ball with it as well. And you can tell the mothers rule the roost with these young men.
For sure.
Well, we appreciate the time very much, good sir. We'll catch up with you after night one of the draft next week. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Great being on. Have a good week.